Welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. We might have a few more coming in as we go, but in respect for your time, we want to go ahead and get us going. My name is Tiffany. I am the Assistant Director of 10 at the Top. I see a lot of new faces in here. Are there any of you in here that aren't familiar with 10 at the Top or what we do as an organization? Perfect. Hopefully I'll answer your questions. Ingo, come on. So what is 10 at the Top? We are a nonprofit. We promote regional collaboration in the Upstate to have a positive impact on quality of life and economic vitality in our region. We serve the 10 counties in the top northwestern part of the state. The typical Upstate region you think of when you talk about the Upstate. We do our work through 5 driver areas. Some of the things we focus on are obviously community vibrancy, given these grants, economic and entrepreneurial vitality, so how are we doing in terms of business and supporting our entrepreneurs in the Upstate? Human potential, so is everyone here living up to their full potential? Our seniors, our children, everybody. And then natural beauty and resources, so are we protecting and promoting what we have in the Upstate? Which also very closely ties in with community vibrancy. And then also sustainable growth. So how are we growing in the Upstate in terms of land use, transportation, things like that, and how can we positively impact that? 10 at the Top is an organization. We are a convener, so we bring people together so we can impact these issues as a region. It's kind of the idea that multiple voices are stronger than one, so we can make a larger impact if we work together. So that's our hope as an organization. And then how did 10 at the Top start this initiative of these grants? It's our only grant program right now. Actually, no, I take that back. We also have another grant program that has to do with air quality and electric vehicle charging stations. But the only one that is for community vibrancy. It started with a project with USC Upstate, an urban policy and planning class. It was an undergraduate class at USC Upstate in Spartanburg. They did a project where they looked for great ideas for community vibrancy. So projects that were going on, not just in South Carolina and the Upstate, but nationwide. That expanded into a series of workshops in the Upstate where we brought in some national speakers to talk about these ideas in hopes that people would take these ideas in the Upstate and not necessarily completely duplicate them, but make them unique to our region and implement them in our region to make our agency more vibrant. Bill Hughes, who will be joining us shortly, he is the president of Hughes Investments. He's also on the board of 10 at the Top. He served as a mentor for these students at USC Upstate and was so blown away by these ideas that he wanted them brought to the Upstate. So he decided, well, somebody needs to fund them. And so he stepped up with this grant program. And what it is 2 $5,000 grants, up to $5,000, that are awarded annually. Mr. Hughes is very generous though. In the 4 years that we've been doing this grant program, we've actually awarded 17 grants, totaling $56,000 for the Upstate. We began in 2013. Before I move on, does anyone have any questions about 10 at the Top, what we do, why we started the grant, how much the grant is for? It's for $5,000. No? And we award 2 annually? Okay. What are the grants intended for? Obviously, we want vibrant projects. I'm going to grab my notes so I know what's coming. They're intended to fund projects that are public. So these are public events. It could be an event, it could be a public art, a mural, a sculpture, but they do need to be publicly accessible and visible. If it's an event, it needs to be open to the public. It needs to be new. So these grants aren't intended to fund an event that's already ongoing or other efforts. It's not intended to grow those efforts. It's intended to start something new. So something that we don't already have in the Upstate. We want it to be impactful. So we need to address a public need, have a positive impact on our sense of place or our community vibrancy. And sustainable. So if it is an event, is it going to be an annual event? How is it going to happen year over year? And if it is an art or a sculpture, how is it going to be maintained? How long will it last? And interactive. Community vibrancy is interactive. So So if it's a sculpture, can people touch it? If it's an event, have people interact with the activities and the other people at the event? And beautiful. Everyone loves beautiful art, murals, sculptures. Even events can be beautiful. And obviously, a project really isn't going anywhere if it isn't implementable. So one of the guidelines of the grant is it does have to be implemented within 12 months. So after the awarding of the grant, you have a 12-month time frame to implement that project. At the judging panel's discretion, they can extend that window to 18 months. But in terms of the application, we're looking for 12. And replicable. So as we did with these great ideas from other areas, looking for things that could possibly happen in the upstate, could your project be replicable? So everyone knows about the Bison Main in downtown Breedville. Well, do you guys know how many other communities have those? Anderson has the Wrens, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the fish. Some fish. So they're all over. So they make them unique to their community, things they have in their communities, or things that have a tie to their history, but they can be, the framework can be replicated across the upstate. If you're going to have an international festival, can somebody else do a similar thing? That's the kind of things we're looking for. And we want it to be fun. Art and events should be fun, engaging to the community, and it should really inspire the people in the community. Does anyone have any questions about what we're looking for? Any questions at all? So who is eligible for the grant? Organizations must be located within and do their work in the 10-county upstate region. The counties are Abbeville, Anderson, Cherokee, Greenwood, Greenville, Lawrence, Oconee, Pickens, Spartanburg, and Union counties. And I will make this available to everybody after this event too, if you're trying to rush to write all that down. Who is eligible? Neighborhood associations, civic and community organizations, nonprofits, local government, so cities and counties can also apply to do something in their areas. And past grant leaders are eligible to reapply. It just has to be for a new project. It can go to the same organization more than once, but not to the same project. Any questions about that? Eligibility? Anyone looking and wondering if they're eligible? Okay.
I have added.
Yeah.
So civic and community organizations, what is an example of that? I mean, for an area that may not have any existing one.
So
civic
civic
or community doesn't need to have a tax status or.
I do not think we do not have a tax status tied to it. Civic and community, like Brandy's a good example of that. She's one of our panelists for today. She's with Let's Keep Travelers Rest Beautiful. That's a civic and community organization. Any other questions about eligibility? Public schools are eligible. I learned that the other day. I had to ask if anyone was wondering. So what is our timeline like with these grants? Grant applications went live on June 1st, so if you've been on our website, you've already seen those on there. You can take a look at the grant, you can take a look at past winners, videos of past winners, winning projects, and get additional information about the grant. We do ask that interested applicants submit an interest form. Those are due August 1st, and I'll go into detail about what that entails and what that means in just a second. The deadline for submitting grants and their supporting documents is September 15th, so you do have some time to pull that together. And then I'm going to go into more detail about this as well, but on November 16th, our 5 finalists that are selected are then asked to give kind of their final pitch at our forum. So that's our Celebrating Successes Forum on November 16th at 11:30 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. The brunch. You present your ideas. Our judges will be there, and they actually leave the room after you present, and they go decide who's getting them right then and there, and we award them at the lunch. So, if you are planning to apply, you should hold that date on your calendar because you have to present to be eligible. And I'll go into a little more detail about that in a second. Anyone have any questions about the deadlines before I move on? You guys feel free to stop me anytime. I promised to go into more detail about the initial interest forms. They are a non-binding document. We ask you to submit those so we can gauge interest and know about how many applications to expect. We do not have, if you submit it and you decide project. That does not obligate you to submit a grant application. So if you decide to not submit an application, that is fine. It does not lock you into your idea or your title. Anything can be changed. It's purely used to judge how many applications we're going to get. And if you don't submit an interest form, you are still eligible to apply. So if you forget to submit it or somebody learns about the grant too late to submit an interest form, that's fine. That does not disqualify you or affect you negatively in the judging process. Any questions about the initial interest form? Yes, ma'am.
So representing two different organizations, is it available to submit one for one organization and for an organization that's done like the findings for both?
Any other questions? Yes.
The interest form, will you call them back and say, listen, make it stronger? Will you make any suggestions or?
If you have a question about it, you are certainly welcome to call any of us up and ask. We don't look through them and go and contact them. But we are, if you have a question or want to know something, that's what we're here for. So you can let us know. Any other questions about the interest form? Okay, and you guys have probably already been on the webpage, but everything is available on our 10 at the Top website. We have a brand webpage just for that. So you can visit that at elevate-upstate.grant. But like I said, I will send this out to everybody. So what are we looking for with the application? Obviously the application, which is available on our website. With the application, we're looking for a project timeline. So then we're looking for projects that can be completed in 12 months. And a task list. So how are you going to accomplish that in that time frame? What are you going to be doing? Who's going to be accomplishing those tasks? Letters of support from community partners. We are 10 at the Top. We're all about collaboration and working together. So all those community partners that you leverage support from, support letters with your application are great. Bios, who's going to oversee the projects. So if you guys are going to be the one overseeing the projects, tell us a little about yourself, a little about your experience, and how you're going to make that project come to fruition and really make it a great thing for your community. And then the budget. This grant is for up to $5,000. So what are you going to do with that $5,000? And if the project is going to cost more than that, where's that additional money coming from? It's coming from your community partners. We'd like to see that. Any questions about the application or the documents we're asking for?
You are able to start a project before you are going to award these. Can you still apply? Are you still eligible?
No. No. So we're looking to fund new projects. We really, what we look for, the main thing is the project. So how great is the project? And really what, and the judging panel can speak more to this in a second because I'm not a judge. What impact is it going to have on the community? And is it something that you really need that $5,000 to implement? So we really want to make things happen in the upstate that couldn't happen without that grant fund. Does that answer? So our judging panel, I'd love to introduce them to you guys. Phil, I saw you just walk in. Phil Hughes is here. He's the funder for our grant, and he'll talk to you guys in just a minute. Ingo's is the troublemaker in the back. Ingo, you want to wave? Ingo's on our board. He's also on the judging panel. And then we also have Terrence Roberts right here. Terrence is also on our board, and he is the mayor of the city of Anderson. So these gentlemen are going to be judging. They'll be at our forum in November, and they will decide them in there who's going to get these grants. There's Phil right there in the middle, and our grant winners from, I believe that was last year. It was last year. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Phil to let him talk to you guys a little bit about how he started the grant. And Phil, if we're going to stay in camera frame.
Hello, everybody. I'm really honored to be here. I can't believe so many people have that much interest, and it's really thrilling. And I really want to give a lot of credit to 10 at the Top. To understand what we're looking for, make understand at least the perspective of how I got started. As you may know, 10 at the Top was started by a couple of groups. One was trying to promote Upstate and bring everybody together and what do you do. SCACOG is a well-established organization called the Urban Land Institute, which I've been involved with for 35 years. And they ended up coming together and doing a thing called a reality check that Urban Land does around the country. And reality check was just almost getting the people together in a simple, simple concept. We're going to grow. Wouldn't it be good to talk to each other? Really not much more difficult. Some politicians thought we had some hidden agenda and all this, some new group. Nothing. Let's get people together and grow better. We're going to grow, and we'll get better if we talk. We have well-established political lines where a lot of things stop at some imaginary line you can see, but we travel a little bit and bring all the 10 counties together. The name was created, 10 counties at the top. We have a great slogan, 10 counties, 1 upstate, stronger together. And out of all of that, okay, what do we really drive for? We came up with 5 drivers. And one of those drivers is vibrancy. I didn't look up that name in the dictionary, but we all know what vibrancy is. You like a place that's fun. I read some advertisement that I don't remember what it was advertising, but I love the tagline. A happy adult is a child that survived. It's a fundamental part of it. It's the kid in all of us that we're looking for. What's fun? What do you want to go do? When you're looking at what we're going to do this weekend or anytime, what do you want to go see, be a part of, experience? Just add that vibrancy to the community. And if we can keep that vibrancy, we're doing really well already. Let's grow it. And let's just become really cool. And so, well, who's got the ideas? Well, Dean had gotten the University of South Carolina Upstate over in Spartanburg to have one of the teachers teach a class. And the class was part of the assignment was let's go around the country for smaller sized towns and find things that work and write about them. And they did. And they put together a book that they had so many of them after a while, about 50 different ideas that people were doing around the country to help create some ideas. They're really good ideas to me. And then somehow Dean got, I think, 9 of them to come to the upstate area and travel around and tell people what they're doing. They're so excited about it. I'm pretty sure they're done. We didn't pay. They flew in just to tell people how great these ideas are. And they're really some cool ideas. And so realizing during all of that background and participating at the top, so many people have great ideas. But we know that one of the real hindrances is where do I get the money to do that? And so we got together and thought, there may be just a little bit of a role to play in between the great idea and all of the community is the role of money. We can insert a little money, $5,000 perhaps, a couple of them every year, 5 years or so. Let's see what can happen. And frankly, we were rather blown away. Like I am today, that all of you are here to hear how I earn that money. Some it's not just a check to put your pocket at home, but we are looking for good ideas. And with Ingo, and we got Ingo from Spartanburg. If the mayor of Anderson and the good one represent Anderson, it feels like sort of balance around the upstate. We're going to have a son-in-law coming and get some free money or something. And so we look for good ideas. And we have some differences of opinions at times, but we always work it out. And we've been very flattered to see the number of ideas that come up. So what are you worried about? What are you worried about? What will get the money? Maybe you have an idea that fits and maybe not. They're great ideas that don't fit. And that's what I'd like to talk about in just a minute. I made a few notes on 2 pages. They asked me to answer 4 questions. And then I've got this sheet that's off the application, what we're looking for. I thought I'd just run down and just say a few brief words on why each one of those. So what do I believe in Elevate Upstate? I just told you. I think the community is fantastic. I grew up in Greenville. I got a long history around the upstate. I'm on this side of my father's side. It's home. We want it to be great. Have a lot of luck in real estate development business. Want to share some of it in a cool way. And just like real estate, it's not an easy business. You got to be really efficient, really effective, know your market, and watch your dollars in peanuts. And so that same sort of attitude, okay, I'll give it away, but we want to scrutinize these things pretty well. The sustainability issue. Well, all that means is we'd love to see something start that keeps going. Something that's put in place that lasts a long time. We don't want the one and done. I think everybody kind of gets that. It may be a great idea, maybe we think, wow, that's worth doing and wanting to know. We don't want to restrict ourselves, but generally speaking, it is the idea of moving on along year after year. I keep coming up with the same two examples sometimes the first year because they were easy to demonstrate what we're looking for. And two winners, first year were Greer. They had always wanted to do an international festival. And a lot of people talked about it for quite some time. And they proposed, I think it was celebrating the culture in terms of food, clothing, and sports or something of the international companies located in Greer. Okay, pretty cool idea. They never had enough money, seed money to start. $5,000, rainy time, they had to do it in time the first year, big hit. And it's gone on every year since, and it's a great thing for Greer. It's added vibrancy, it started it continues on with a good idea, the international celebration. Pretty simple and straightforward. We love it. I think that was a great way to come out of the box. And in Anderson, they proposed something that's not an interactive, festive kind of thing, but a beautification project. We've all seen those ugly power meter boxes and telephone things on the sides of the road that just look ugly. Well, you've seen cars too, they're sort of wrapped in that sticker stuff that puts an image on them. Let's put some butterflies or birds or whatever on these boxes and beautify them. Let's take out crosswalks and paint them with different things on their flowers and whatnot and make things prettier. It lasts for a long time. It's simple. It was very inexpensive compared to what I think of transition. There's another urban land institute that went to that had a recent thing called Love Notes. Love Notes is something your community does in the community that shows somebody loves the community. Easy. Mice on Main in downtown Greenville. A love note. Well, covering up otherwise ugly transformer boxes and traffic signal and stuff. Love note. Love notes all over town. We love the idea of love notes. So you get sort of a variety of sustainability. A sense of place. A lot of developers hear that term over and over again. There's no there. You go out and you build a new strip shopping center and it opens up, okay, maybe a little more convenient to get your grocery stores, your drugs, but there's nothing really to it. Let's find something to add something with more than just bricks and mortar. Create a sense of place. And the hints that I have. Back to your kid. Let your kid come out. Let it be fun, active, funny, engaging. Something you want to write to people that don't live in the upstate and tell them about. Come on down and visit. This is going on. Come on down and visit. We can go see this. I want to show you that. And if we get enough of it, maybe it's a cumulative effect eventually. We hope so. So that's the question I was asked that. And to go down the list, I think y'all can see that sort of thing online. First was impact and create vibrancy. That's what I've been talking about. I think that's pretty clear and we want to make a difference. The need. Got some great applications. I hate to say I'm very close to the Children's Museum downtown, and they've made applications before, and what they want to do is fantastic. But it's giant. They've already gotten much of their money, if not most of their money, and the $5,000 is good. Not going to be wasted if it went to them, but if you missed another opportunity to start something. So we're not really looking forward to just getting on a bandwagon of something that's already going. We really want to find something that's needed and start it up. Ability to implement. We ask for partners, support, other budgeting things. It doesn't have to be. We will fund a singular, I'm doing it on my own. But you need to be able to demonstrate you can get it done somehow. I've done 3 of these already, whatever it may be. So the ability to implement is we don't want to fund something that doesn't happen. That's plain and simple. Let's put a cover on our tail. Sustainability, already mentioned. We want it to add to the vibrancy continually into the future. Availability of additional funding. We funded some things, I'm pretty sure, that did not have all our funding together. But when we start, it helps us get more money. And we like that. And we also like the fact that even some of the winners, some people that have not won our grant, turn out to be winners because it helps people get their ideas together in a format that you can present to us, and if it didn't win it, to someone else. It makes me, I got this figured out now. I don't know if you can get some other fun, get it done. And so some things that never ended up before that not gotten money, that's still going on right now. That's a really great thing. And then availability to be replicated. It would be an ideal thing that we haven't done is make a new book 50 more things that we've actually done here and ship it around the country. Distribute it. Come on, country, get on board. These things can be done. It's fun. Efficiency. We don't want to see things wasted. I mean, we know that sometimes an improved sign for someone may attract more people to come in than whatever they have. But we're not in the sign fixing business. It needs to be efficient in terms of getting to that vibrancy and getting more than what we're maybe patching up something that's already existing. Public and noticeable. Well, if it's just a hit and there's a few people and not the whole community, ideally the whole community. I go back to both Anderson and Ritter. The whole community participates. But what about some things that aren't? We had I guess it was Greenwood, where artists painted local farmers. And it's not the whole community, it's sort of now, but it was really a protest. Fun factor. That really rings my bell. I know it's vague, kind of raw, but you know what it's got to be fun. That's what we really want to have is a fun community. Because we want to eat, work, live, and the last is a very subjective sort of thing, beautiful and attractive. If we can make something that just helps improve our communities, we're all for that. So that sort of sums up where I'm coming from. I don't know. Questions now, questions later?
That's right. If you'd like to take it to you, we can.
Oh, I'm glad to take
If you
all
have a
that.
question, Mr. Hughes, if you have a question about a project, now is the time to ask. Okay?
So what if it's specifically in one community for that community, but, I mean, it's not that other people couldn't come, it's just play safe.
Dean, you may know best. We've got winners all over. And amazingly, we've had maybe none in Core Greenville. They seem to be doing all right, I guess. We've got applicants, but most of them are big things, and that's not quite what we're going for. But we fully understand that it's more, I mean, is Greer as successful as it was? I bet 90% of the people were right there at Greer.
Well, I think if I get it, your question is I think more to the idea that it may be for a certain audience of folks as opposed to the greater, larger community, right?
Well, it's targeting those, but that not to the exclusion.
Right.
If you have something in Moonville and you think, well, Moonville's off the beaten track, it's not going to win, that's not going to take away.
Yeah, it's really, I can tell from, working with the panel that, it's really about the project, as it's been said, and, who the audiences and things of that nature, they come into play when there's close, considerations, but, they don't want to exclude something that's a really neat project just because it may only be like, someone mentioned like, potential of having to do a school. I don't think that would exclude, a project being awarded just because the primary audience may be, a school group or maybe a small town or whatever it might be. That's
Very accurate. And keep in mind, as we talked about, the ability to replicate it. We want to see something that's successful, that continues on, and maybe, okay, this is great in your community, let's spread it all around. I'd love to see every traffic signal box in the country covered up.
Here in some communities, some people's ideas may be a little bit more, I'm going to use the word progressive or something like that. Maybe you're outside the box of what the community is used to. And so garnering support for those things sometimes is difficult. Because, people like change very much. If you can't garner that support within your community, but you get support from outside other areas that maybe see or have that vision that do see the potential, what do you think about not having particular community support, but
I think it's a very excellent question. I had expected, not sure how to answer it, because it may go back to a lot of personal characteristics of the three judges. I think something wild and bizarre is fun and knows all these things probably adds to the desirability. When you use progressive, you pull in a lot of political stuff. I don't think this inhibits at all. It just sort of comes back to the fundamentals of it, and it burns through a lot of it. Introducing something new is rather exciting, because that's really what grows a community. If we do the same thing all the time over and over, it's going to be kind of stale. But doing the same thing or we have to start a provision, that's good. It's the same thing, but I'm very much welcome there. Bring it on.
My husband and I own a business, and we're not a 501c3, but we do have a charity portion of our business where we serve veterans. And I'm not sure if we would be eligible for the program or not, because we're not technically a 501c3.
That doesn't matter. You do not have to be a 501c3
Okay, so,
at all.
okay.
Just more technical, if you throw my donation goes to 10th of top, 501c3, I get a deduction. Where they send it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And if you're thinking of veterans, it would be better just to volunteer something. If it's just for veterans, isn't as good as it's just for veterans and the community.
We use, we're a gym, and so we service the community, but for the veterans, we offer a very, very heavy discount if they pay anything at all. If they were wounded in battle, they don't pay anything at all. It's for the gym program.
Thank them for us.
We're expanding. I will.
Please do.
And we're hoping to expand.
And you had a question?
Is there, and I don't mean to be leading with a project-specific question.
But you
Is
can.
there anything that you've wanted to see that has not been done?
Yes. I talked about it. And I don't even know if maybe done around here. Soapbox Derby. Do we have that around here? I'm glad to hear it. I hope it expands. I remember as a kid and I thought, what happened to that? But other than that, ain't got something you wish you'd see?
That's what I wish I'd seen, but somebody did. It was a dirty, empty lot downtown in the city, and it really needed to be cleaned up, and the community moved up together. I don't know who funded it, but it was really cool. They cleaned it up, and they built a miniature complex golf course right downtown.
Spartanburg, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the stores around had photos and balls that you could pick up. And it doesn't, it sounds like it's just kids, but it brings families in town, and it doesn't cost anything. It's really kind of cool. What does it say? Yeah, it's really kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of, fun, cheap, took a lot of people to get it done, makes you come something, and that would be a perfect kind of project for this.
And before that question, Terrence, what would you like to see?
Another question. I'm just always very interested in there's a folder full of, I don't know how many applications we have, but we all come in and try to judge and we all influence each other after we get their perspective on it. But I'm a big proponent of bringing people together and for it to for people having fun. Anything specific. We've done things in Anderson with arts that has created other things and other organizations that have created other arts types of things in our city. So I like the arts component of it, being able to the visual arts, being able to see different things that people from all ages being able to experience the visual arts.
I had a question.
Yes, I haven't had a chance to look at the past grant winnership, but have they been more focused on an event or a project, like more tangible?
I can't, you'd think I'd say, oh, most of them are events, or most of them projects. Dean, how would you say?
Totally wide range. There have been some events, there have been some art. It's just been totally across the board and different in terms of some are some beautification type projects. I mean, just very, very wide range. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is the applications are different, and what's chosen is really kind of based on what seems to pop up from that year. There is no agenda. Oh, we want to make sure and find an event or a customer. We want to fund this or that. It's really kind of based on what the applications are and what seems to kind of follow the top where it helps the community that maybe been struggling a little bit, or an idea that really seems strong. They really work very hard. The Art and Ag event that Phil mentioned in Greenwood a couple of years ago, I think that got funded primarily because her application is so thorough and really explained the whole project in such a impressive way that it was, it just rose to the top very clearly. And even though it was, in terms of itself, a one-time thing, which is one of the few that is not an ongoing type of effort, it was such a neat, and it tied in with the farmers market that was just opening and things like that. So it really fit very well as something that, just makes sense to be supported.
I don't know, as I mentioned, which has won most. The three judges, but I do think there's something that really is resonates with me about thinking of what I described with Greer. You have something that's a community event that needs to get going, and it doesn't have the funding, but the idea is there. Because it attracts so many people. There's usually an educational or art or farmers market. There can be a number of topics that it brings people together. But it's the kind of thing that gets back to fun. It's family friendly. It's activity. It can continue year after year. I don't know if y'all have ever, I don't know how many years it's been, but someone said, when's the last time you went down to the farmers market downtown Greenville? I think I went down about the second or third week, and it was off the side of Main Street. There's a few little booths, and it looked like it took them 3 minutes to put up and could take them 2 minutes to take down. And I went down about 2 weeks ago, and oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. Well, how do you start that? How do you start anything else that can grow into that? I think the best thing is we're not some big event funder. We want to buy the seeds. And y'all are the fertilizer and the soil and the water. And let's hope it grows. And we want to be buying a lot of seeds. That might be a bad analogy, but I'll stick with it.
Any other questions?
Oh, come on.
Okay, thank you so much, Bill. At this time, I'll ask my three panelists to come forward. So a few of you were asking about past winners and the kinds of projects that have been funded, and we have a wide range of past winners here to kind of give you their tips and what they did, and then we'll let you ask them some questions. I'll go ahead and introduce them. We have first right here, Jonathan Irick. He is the executive director of Main Street Lawrence. The project that won, I believe it was in 2014, was finally Friday on the Square. So I will let all of them explain in just a moment. We have Arlene Young. She is now the Grant Services Director, did I get that right, at the Appalachian Council of Governments. But when she won, she was at the city of Anderson, and they won for their project of unifying the utility boxes in the downtown based on a children's book. Please tell me the name of the children's book. The Lost Friend. And then we have Brandy Amidon. Brandy was with facility that lets each other's rescue. They won for their Before I Die results. And then Brandy is also on the city council, new mayor for Tim for City Climate Rescue. And also CPA, so very busy. I'm going to let each of them give kind of a quick overview of their projects so you can get a feel for what they did. And then we'll go into detail about some of the specifics. Let people organize my jargon. Brandy, before I go first, just kind of describe your project.
You guys may have heard of the Before I Die wall. It's in like hundreds of countries. Almost every state in the state of the United States has had a wall before. I'll just leave me up here about So what we did in Travelers Rest was we had the idea, but how could we expand it and blow it up as big as possible and impact the most people possible. So we took the concept of the Before I Die wall, which has been we didn't reinvent the wheel, like on Candy's website, she tells you where to get the stencils, where to get the chalk, how to clean it. She already has it all worked out. What we did was customize it for Travelers Rest and how we reach the most people, get it in a community phase where a person walks around a trail, but also in the schools. And so we put it in the elementary school, middle school, and high school, which we uniquely have all in city limits. So we customized them. Before I Die is a little little much for maybe an elementary school child to comprehend. So when we met with the principals, we had, before I grow up, before I turned 25 for a high schooler is a big deal. And then we have before I grow old for the elementary school kids, because to them, a person with white hair might be old, or it might be a teenager, you know, so they got a little bit of varying degrees. And then we also had, because I love traveler dress, a hope wall. And so that was the community wall. We kind of wanted to see what do people love about traveler dress, maybe what would they like to see come to traveler dress. And then we had the Before I Die on our main street. So we were able to do that as well. And then part of it was we took a lot of pictures of the wall. We promoted it very heavily. It was just trying to capture what people said, what people were interested in that period of time. Then we also, we actually constructed 4 walls. And then some of the schools have theirs, and we still have one that's available. So it's continuing life. So we used an inflator Marietta for another event. And then we repurposed it again in the city of Landrum. If you guys saw it, Landrum, they called us and used it. We're hoping to use it again this year. So it's continuing its life. So.
Jonathan, would you like to tell us about Finally Friday?
Sure. So Finally Friday is more of the event type funded project. And we were, Main Street Barnes is really into revitalizing the downtown. We're part of the state program. There's 17 communities across the state that are using this method for revitalizing downtown. So we're always looking at ways to bring life back into town. And we realized that being open late at night is important, especially for a community like Lawrence, who so many of our population work maybe up here in Greenville or in Greenville or what have you. So by the time they get back, we wanted to make sure they had an opportunity to shop and experience our downtown. So we came up with the Finally Friday on the square. So the last Friday of each month, we have live music. The businesses are open late. And then once we started with that, we added other events to it as well. So to kick everything off each year in April, we do a wine tasting. We call it Sip and Stroll. That's part of the Finally Friday. And then this month, with the music, we'll be what we call a Sweet Tea Soiree, where they purchase these mason jar mugs from us for $5. And the businesses all have a different flavor of tea. And so you can walk around and taste a different tea. Live music is from 7 to 9. And we started earlier with music in the very first year, and we realized summertime in the South, I mean, I grew up here, but we about died. So we moved the live music to 7 to 9, and it's really been a hit. We now have our city trolley running so that the kids can get on that and just take a trip around downtown. We do a different type of music each month, so we're reaching out to all the different segments of our population. And then again, we encourage our businesses to do something special that night too, and we promote it heavily on social media and our different e-blasts and stuff that we do for our organization.
Arlene?
Okay, as Phil was mentioning how he hated those utility boxes, those traffic signal boxes, I too hated those things. All of us that are in downtown revitalization, we do these streetscape projects, we do landscape projects, and then you may have one of these just bland, ugly boxes. This one comes by and puts some sticker on it to even make it look fancy. So when we heard about this grant, I immediately thought to what can we do with these boxes? And then I also thought about our crosswalks. It always amazes me when you get in the elevator, what do people do? They either look down or they look up to avoid eye contact. The same way at crosswalks, I was observing that's what people do if they look down or look up. So I'm thinking, if they're looking down, why don't we give them something to look at? And maybe that will create conversations. It will be engaging among those people who are walking across the crosswalk. So with that idea, it was easy to figure out what are we going to put on the boxes and what would we put in crosswalks. Because as Tiffany mentioned, this book, which wasn't the catalyst for the RED project in Anderson, we had a private group of investors that raises $100,000 every year, and Brandy, which has been every 2 years, to do a project in downtown. And they had done an installation of 20 Carolina winds and nests throughout downtown. We're very fortunate to have that group do that for us. So we also were very fortunate to have 2 people that live in Anderson who chose to write a book. They did this at no cost to the city. And an artist who provided illustrations in the book.
cool thing about the book is that this red, there's color and then there are black and white pencil drawings. I don't know if I find them so you can see that. But anyway, this little wren wakes up in Myrtle Beach and he's lost. He tries to find his way home. So he travels throughout the state. So it's really a geography lesson as well. Not necessarily a children's book, adults enjoy it as well. And he finds his real home in Electric City, and he finds his mom and dad in downtown Anderson. So I thought, well, we already have this piece of artwork. Why not use that on the utility boxes? So we chose the color sketches for the utility boxes and then the pencil drawings for the crosswalks. So it's been very engaging, as I said. We've had numerous people in other cities and counties and even other states that have seen it or heard about it. That would call and ask about our idea and how much it costs, which luckily this is a very low cost, low maintenance project. The total cost was $6,500. We did 9 of the utility boxes. We were able to do more boxes than we thought we were because of the wrap was cheaper. And we did less of the crosswalks because our initial thought was to use some stencils. And in talking with the guy we met, got the price for stencils after he actually saw the sketches, he felt like the artwork was so intricate, the stencil would not do it justice. So we actually had an artist to come in and repaint these. And they're still holding up real well today. We use traffic paint for that, so it's not just, your paint that you would get at Hobby Lobby. So they're doing well. And the wraps, they're great as well. I think, I believe we had a 10-year warranty on those. So that's our project. Thank you.
I won't do any more slides, so you guys can't take the time. I'm going to start us off with just a few questions, things I think you might find helpful, and then I'll turn it over to you guys so you can ask people actually we're great to ask any questions that you might have. We're great. Yes.
On your crosswalks, were you able to do those because they were city-owned streets?
Absolutely.
So could you do that on a street that wasn't a city-owned street?
Depends on who you ask.
Or not.
Or not.
It depends on when you do it too. Go out at night and do it. Nobody.
I'll pose this question to all of you guys. How did you come up with your timeline for the project? It doesn't have to be implemented in 12 months, so how did you make sure you were able to get that accomplished in the time frame? Whoever wants to start off.
Mine was easy. So we focused around school schedules. So we started with the principals first and figured out exam time. And so that's how we kind of custom. And our goal was not to have no more than one wall up at one time. So we kind of paced it around. So we worked with that. And then we did want to have one out in the middle of the heat of the summer because that's just crazy. For that. So we were able to work within that period. And then we actually had the wall built. So the original idea was for me to get my husband to build one for us, using some plywood and some stencils. And so we were able to use this grant. We were able to take it and make it 1,000,000 times better and make it more durable, put wheels on it, reuse it over and over again. And so we have a local business who did that for us and built it. And they were able to do it in a month. So it was pretty easy for us.
I would say it was easy for us as well because we had contacted vendors before to see how long it would take for these wraps to be produced and then actually put on. I will say we didn't take into account weather as much as we should have. Our April can either be cold or it can be warm, so it has to be warm for both these projects to be able to happen. But we still had it done within 6 months.
Yeah, our project was pretty easy too. We knew we wanted to start something started in the spring and have it go through the summer because that was a time in our community where there wasn't a lot going on. And so we knew the grants would be awarded towards the end of the year and it would be perfect timing to get something started that next April. So it was a pretty quick turnaround for us.
What about community partnerships? So how did you get these people on board to make these projects actually happen?
Well, for us, the first partner that jumped on board was the city. The city of Lawrence agreed to do it, to be a partner that would allow us to keep it going. So they've sponsored it each year now for $5,000. Then we also approached our local telephone company, who's already a supporter of our organization and other events that we do, along with our Commission of Public Works. And both of those groups also signed on to help sponsor music each month, or one of the months out of the 5 that we do it. Because we quickly realized that $5,000, we thought $1,000, that'll be great. Yeah, but then you got to get a band, and then you got to have some advertising, and you got to do other things as part of that night. So that money goes really quickly. So we got those other partners to get on board and sponsor different music each month. And so we have music sponsored by this person, but the overall event is put on by Main Street and sponsored by the city.
For the city of Anderson, they do embrace public art as a way to create vibrancy, and they see it as an economic development tool. It brings people to downtown, and tourism is economic development. So, this, obviously, as a city employee, it's easy to get the city on board, but we have a great partnership with the Arts Center. We've done several projects with them. The Fish was the first public art project that was done 14 years ago, maybe. Yeah. So that was easy. And also for your downtown businesses, they see it as a way that highlights their storefront. If someone's calling saying, I'm trying to find you or where you're located, look for the Pelicans. So they see it as a way to highlight their business.
And for us, we were able to, I kind of thought that maybe partnering with schools might be a little difficult. I mean, they're busy, they have, major responsibilities versus letting us come in there and do something fun, but the principals were super open to it from day one. And actually the principal, Layla of Charter Dress High School, he was very involved in, he came up with the 25 age limit, but then also their shop class, that teacher actually built their walls. Teenagers need a little bit more ownership in things, besides them showing up and participating. So they actually built the shop walls. They had artists, the art class that decorated border, and they had a little bit different role from that standpoint. And then the city of Charter was very helpful. I know people there, so they kind of helped us out from that standpoint. But everybody loved the idea, so we didn't have any problems partnering with people.
And you guys have both kind of hit on budget. You haven't mentioned it too much, Brandy, but you mentioned that artists and it costing a little more than you expected. What advice do you have in terms of people putting together their budget? Are there things you forgot to budget for that you might want to let the applicants know?
Well, for us, I mean, we didn't think about. We already do a big event each year called Sweeter on the Squares in October. It's a big 2-day festival, and we get bands for that. But we didn't correlate that over to the smaller event. So when we were thinking about bands, we didn't have a stage. So that was the first thing we started looking at. Well, what about a stage? And we realized that was just going to be way out of budget for us. So we actually just set up tents, easy up tents, and the bands all perform under that. We also know that I encourage you to make sure that you're looking at all that, because we didn't look into what bands are charging for a smaller event like that. We realized that most of the bands are going to charge us because they got to travel to Lawrence for one thing. We don't have a lot of in-community bands. So typically the bands are going to charge us anywhere from $500 or $600 to about $1,000, maybe $1,200. So that's really our $1,000 a month right there. But we try to cut corners other places that we can, save other money so that we can make the church out as small as we can.
And our budget was pretty simple. It was $4,500. We had the walls built, supplies, and we had some advertising. So we didn't have any major problems.
And you mentioned the racks actually ended up being less than you thought. Is there anything that you maybe forgot to budget for?
Well, ours changed the scope to where we're going to have a stencil, and we're actually going to paint ourselves, and so then we actually had to use some artists. And he was a student from Anderson University, so he was happy with his work, and he did a great job. But it was more than a stencil.
And what about your ideas? So how do you take it from kind of an idea to, for everyone sitting out there thinking about, I have this idea, how do they formalize that into an application? What do you guys do?
Well, for me, so I'm on the city council. I had went to a municipal association meeting, and they talked about the Flat law. So we had talked about it for like 2 years because we didn't have the money. And we really were at the stage where we're like, all right, let's just get our husbands and like a few guys to build this wall. We'll just put it out there and we can paint it and make it simple. And then our city administrator sent us the vibrancy grant. And there it was, an example of the Before I Die wall in the vibrancy grant. So we're like, done. So that was very, it was like, oh, divine intervention just to have that all come together. So
I always hated those boxes. Yeah, something needed to be done.
Now, did let us do that about?
Phil's still upset about that, so. Maybe one day somebody will convince them. What the mayor is referring to is obviously Duke has these boxes. Sometimes they're switching gears, something else that they have to do. And they're just as ugly as the utility boxes I'm referring to is for the traffic signalization boxes. And we asked, and it took a long time to get an answer, but the answer was, no, you can't apply the vinyl to them, but you can build a fence around the box and apply the vinyl to the fence, which totally defeats the purpose of what we were trying to do. So I just said that.
For the Finally Friday, we knew that we wanted to try to come up with something that would get people shopping after hours. And one of our other Main Street programs is in the city of Somerville, and they do a third Thursday. And a lot of communities do this, but we happened to go to the one in September, the year before the grant was, before we applied for the grant. And they were doing theirs sweet tea event. And so we borrowed with each other in our Main Street programs. And I thought, this is a really neat idea. It's something that we could replicate in Lawrence. But we need to do something to make it our own. So that's why we came up with the Finally Friday. We were also just finishing up, or just going through a branding process with the city. So we got the logo as part of that branding. So we had that when we applied for the grant as well. So I think that probably helped because it's a pretty cool logo, especially when you see the color. But then I also had, prior to that, in 2013, I actually brought the booklet. I had a couple of volunteers that went to Greenwood when we had this, when Lieutenant Top hosted this event. And they came back and they put highlighted notes all through it. They've got paper clips on the corners. And so we still use this booklet when our promotion committee is getting together and talking about it. But we sat down and looked through these and kind of went through to see what we could do. And then with our trip to Somerville, that really kind of formulated our whole plan.
And the booklet Jonathan's referring to is available on our grant webpage. If anyone wants to go check that out, it's in the slide for that. And then we're ready to turn it over for questions. Or please raise your hand if you have a question.
Yeah, I was curious about the actual grant application process. I've heard that it can be very difficult. Did you guys have any experience in grant writing?
I personally think that this grant is one of the easiest grants I've ever applied for.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a pretty easy grant.
I'm not a professional grant writer.
No,
It worked for me, so. For me, like, it was just more like you telling your story of what you envisioned, and that seems pretty easy once you're passionate about it.
And I'll interject, it really is a very easy grant application, so don't be intimidated. It really is about the project and how you describe it, and it is actually implementable. It's not a huge, long grant application where you have to attach your tax returns and all this. It's really not. It's 2 pages, is it 2 pages long without the instructions? And we just ask for the timeline, the budget, and your references, and really the description of the project is the biggest part, yes.
Kind of to build on that, I think the part that is, and you heard from each of them, you do have to do a little bit of work in advance in terms of having an idea and kind of, yes, this is something that can be implemented and that kind of thing. So from that standpoint, it is, you can't just, brainstorm, oh, let's put it down and do it. I mean, there has to be some work to make sure it is, something that can be implemented. And I think that's where maybe there is some time to it, but as Tiffany said, there are the number of questions, and I know I've gotten calls over the years and people, it's like, there aren't many questions. It's really, explain, give your, showcase your idea as opposed to answer these 15 different questions about the project. So, we tried to make it, and this was in the initial theme with Phil, he said make it as simple as possible. So that was, really what we tried to do is make it where it's about the project, not about that I fit all these boxes.
Other questions? Yes.
The first being able to share your ideas, like your wall, and being able to share it with other communities, whether or not how portable is your, your wall and things. Like, is there a way to be able to share that with other places?
What do you mean, the idea of the law or sharing the actual law?
Sharing the actual wall.
We just have people reach out to us. So like the city of Landrum, the city administrator just called our city hall and said, hey, you just talked to Brandy. She had saw it and said, hey, can we use that in Landrum? And then another person who had seen the law called me actually a month ago. I want to use it for the free-will and Alzheimer's. So to me, we always said like this is a community project, and so I think people felt free to reach out. The schools actually kept theirs and repurposed it for something. So the high school kept theirs and used it for stage props or something like that. The elementary school reused it for maybe something in the parking lot or something one time, because they're big. They're not like just a panel. They're huge pieces of wood, and so they were able to roll them around and repurpose them. But we used Facebook was our most driver for communication. Travelers Rest Tribute, that was part of our budget. We included the Tribute in with some advertising. It was $200. It wasn't a huge investment, just so people would know what we were doing, and when it was in schools, the parents would kind of know when the kids came home and talked about it. So we used that as a big communication piece too.
And then the other thing is like, would any of you be, are like, is there a way that for people that have won these grants or when they have these fantastic ideas, to come and talk to other municipalities, to sort of share the successes that you have had in other places, with other communities?
I work for food. Biscuits, I love to come. I think it's great. For us, it was so impactful for Travelers Rest. I think we would definitely want to share that with anybody that was interested.
I agree. I mean, I think any of the past winners would be willing to come and talk. Lieutenant Top has done some other programs where they had some panelists, so of course other past winners too, that shared their similar stories as to how they accomplished the grant process and stuff. But I think any of us would be willing to share ideas with any other community that had specific questions. I'm always willing to come up and get some coffee.
And this document right here will certainly.
This will get a lot of ideas
Yeah.
flowing and, get the thought process. As Phil and Tiffany both mentioned, I mean, this booklet runs the whole gamut from those small projects up to, this is a master plan that Travelers Rest did. So, I mean, it runs the whole gamut from really small projects to really huge projects. Just kind of get your ideas going.
Aaron, I will tell you, we did a day-long community vibrancy workshop in Gaffney, I guess about 2 summers ago, where we showcased the book of the projects there, and then we had the first year, I think, of the grant at that point, and showcase that. And we certainly would be happy to do that, or you can reach out to these winners, and we have others who have won the grants as well, and everybody. Plus, on our website are all the videos from each year, so you can watch the video and kind of learn what has been done for each project. So there's multiple ways certainly to share, and as Phil said, at some point we'll probably do volume 2 that includes the winners once we get to a point where we've got enough all of them for that.
Questions? Yep. What about measuring success? How do you guys, did you measure users or attendance?
One of the big things for us was measuring the success of the businesses, because that's what our organization, one of our main goals is making sure that we are setting our businesses up to succeed and make it an entrepreneurial friendly environment. So we did surveys after each one, and our businesses typically report on the Family Fridays an increase of probably 50% or more above their normal operating days. And then the fact that they've all continued and they all want to participate and they're now coming up with their own ideas, I think shows the fact that it's caught on. And we also have families, like I said, the trolley, our city owns a trolley that we just use for special events. And we have families now that come down just so their kids can ride the trolley on Friday. And if it's not running for some reason, I'm the one that has to go tell the little kids why it's calling. But it's actually starting to catch on, and people know when it's coming up, and they're calling and asking about it, and we get involved.
Brandy, Arlene, were you guys able to measure at all the users overall or the?
Ours is a little harder to measure the success, but just like you saw the 2 girls with having their picture taken, and as soon as I saw that, I asked the mother if I could take the picture. So there was many opportunities that we saw people that were admiring them, taking pictures of them, or having someone take a picture of themselves. And through our Facebook page, we encourage people to share their experiences, telling what they were doing. Also working with the visitor center and giving downtown tours. hearing the feedback, and then business owners specifically asking, make sure that you show the utility boxes, or make sure you point out the crosswalk. So those were our measurements of success.
Yeah, I think for us, it was, part of this process is like always adapting kind of what works best. And the dream room, we thought we'd have like somebody that wrote something on the wall, and then they would do it, and then they'd tell me about it, and we go, yeah, it's all because of this wall. It's not really how it worked. I mean, they naturally had this desire to probably do something, or Charlie grew up, or Kiss Harry Styles, or whatever, you know, that was written on the wall. But so we didn't see that piece of it, but what we did see was the fact that everybody was talking about it, that the kids at the high school, or at the middle school already knew about it because the high school brothers or sisters had already told them that they had written on the wall. And then, you know, just the fact that we've been able to keep repurposing the wall is a measurable that we didn't really know until after the fact. And then we still use Facebook to promote the pictures. People can still go back and look at them, and that still has a really good following when we post other beautification or, you know, just something that's positive and interesting for travelers. We still get some feedback. So different measurables and kind of evolve through the process.
If I could add a couple things to that. One is, I went one Friday afternoon and sat in a corner kind of in the park before I got all was on the Swamp Rabbit. Just to kind of, I took some pictures and stuff, and it's about 45 minutes I was sitting there, it was a beautiful day. 2,000 people or more, you know, who were on the trail, either biking or walking, every single one of them had stopped. You know, they stopped and looked at it, or they wrote. You know, several of them wrote their own things. So just in a short period of time, it was kind of neat just to see, because I wondered if people would be paying attention or just kind of drive by, and there wasn't, I don't think anybody who, you know, even though they may have been exercising or whatever, they had to stop, they had to read, they had to be part of it. And the other thing, Phil mentioned the Rear End National Festival. They've actually done a impact study, economic impact study on the festival, and in 2016, the festival generated $107,000 of impact for the city of Greer. So, you know, it started with a $5,000 grant, and now each year it's impacting their community, you know, over $100,000. I bet if Jonathan, you know, they do an impact study of what's happening with Final Friday, at some point they'll see, you know, a significant impact that it's having, and it's all, you know, the idea, it starts very relatively small with a minimal amount of money, but they all have, you know, each one has its own different kind of impact. Another one was in the first year, the town of Seneca did and received a grant through the Blueberry Arts Council. Well, we found out about 8 or 10 months after they had been awarded the grant that the Blueberry Arts Council was actually getting ready to fold at the time when they submitted it. They had a couple of members still that were kind of holding on, and the city administrator gave them the grant, and they applied, and they got it, and then within a year, we were invited to a gallery opening. It was the first one they had in about a year and a half. They had over 100 people there, and they're still going strong. They have their things up for Seneca, they're on the light post now, and I mean, with the cats and the things that they've done. So they really, you know, this one project for them turned out to be, you know, a huge impact that's kept an organization going. So there are many different ways to measure success of the projects, and I think that's part of, you know, I think what the idea was, it doesn't all have to be economic success or, you know, as tangible as maybe it is in other ways, but just that you know, the projects, you know, have the ability to you know, really impact the communities in multiple ways.
And there's kind of a balance too. Something that doesn't affect you as many people might have a high lamp effect, or something that doesn't meet one of the criteria or things we think about often meets another one much greater than we would have. It's okay to be creative and be wacky, and if you don't fit all of the elements perfectly, that's okay. You know, we try not to provide one-time sorts of events, but the International Council was an exception. The International Festival of Beer was an exception. And it worked. So don't feel like you have to fit this suit that was presented perfectly. If the sleeves are too long or the lapel's too short,
design.
Are there any other questions you guys want to ask our panelists, or maybe Phil or one of the judges? I can keep asking questions back, but I'm not applying for the grant. No? Yes?
Question, interest form, what's the process between the interest form and the actual application? Do you weed out applicants? Do you say yes, no?
No, it's purely for us to determine and kind of get an idea for how many grants we are going to receive. It helps us plan for our judging process. If you don't submit one, you can still apply for the grant. If you submit one and decide not to, that's fine. If you submit an interest form and then you do a 180 and you decide you want to do a different project, that's fine too. We will follow up with people who submitted interest forms. So if it's the deadline, you haven't submitted an application, we will give you a call or shoot you an email and say, hey, are you still, did you forget about the deadline, and you still want to apply for that.
Martin, the first year, about 3 days before the deadline, and I think I had 4 applications. And so I'm having a heart attack because Phil had offered, generous support, and I'm like, is no one going to apply? And I couldn't figure out why, because, I had talked to a lot of people, and we had a lot. Within the next day, we ended up with 31 applications. So, the applications came, they just all came on deadline. So part of the idea was to put, an interest form deadline. So if we feel like we're not getting as many applications as we think we should, then we can reach out to people that we, from communities and folks who have been engaged. So, we can make sure that you know about it and would apply. But, doing this workshop was really Phil's idea to give an opportunity to kind of talk about the grant, and so people can kind of read themselves in and out. Yes, this fits for my organization, maybe it doesn't, that kind of thing. But, the interest forms are really to help kind of avoid the heart attack of, oh, are we going to get any applications or not? But also to make sure that we're, that we're not missing, in fact, I think it was 2 years ago, we had applications from interest forms from 9 of the 10 counties. So I reached out to the 10 counties and said, hey, all the other counties have an application for the grant. You guys have something, and they submitted. They found a group that could submit. So there's a couple reasons, but what we really don't critique in terms of this project fits better than that, because we feel like we know some things may change over time, and then if there's a project that's just very clearly that it's replacement money, or it's, as Phil said, $5,000 out of a $150,000 project, then we may reach out and say, hey, we just don't think this is the right thing. But for the most part, we don't do a lot of that kind of critiquing at that part of the process.
Any other questions about the application? Yes.
Hadn't heard a lot about part of 501c3, and obviously fundraising and stuff like that is important to us and finding ways to interact with the community. Has there been projects in the past that have had emission costs and stuff like that to help raise funds for the projects that a 501c3 might be supporting?
That's a great question. Dean, Phil, Ingo, parents, are there? Do you know? Is that something?
The international festival
I'm not sure. Well, I guess the real question is if a festival or an event, if they did have an entry cost, judges, is that something that you take into consideration when judging the grants?
How these come up?
We look at sustainability, they get the rate off of all beer sales, that's good enough.
I don't think we have a project that specifically, I don't remember anything, but that doesn't mean, as you said, if you feel like to make it, work where you're trying to do it, as part of a bigger thing, you can certainly apply. That may or may not, the judges, would consider that, I think, is part of it. But, the idea of these are accessibility and sustainability.
It's from just a context. If you're doing a bizarre thing that may not attract many people and you're going to charge a real high PDA, that's not going to win. If you have a budget where we're going to do this great thing, we're going to charge $3 a head to get in, it covers the cost for short, I don't think it's impacted at all.
I'll say too, Main Street Orange is a 501c3. And so when we do our event, any event really, but we're looking at other ways we can make money. So we don't charge anything to come to Finally Friday. It's free and open to the public. But then we're selling sodas and water, and we're doing the sweet tea soiree and the wine tasting. The wine tasting part, we do charge the people a ticket to participate in that. But the Finally Friday and the music is free. So that's why we added those other components, so that we could also make some money to offer the product.
Is that answer your question?
Absolutely, thank you.
What other questions do you guys have? Yes, Mia.
Can you talk a little bit about the types of applicants that have done well in actually securing funding? Is it mostly government? Is it mostly nonprofits? What's the?
I think it's a good mix. So right now we have a government, civic organization. Here's nonprofit. Yeah. So it's really a good decent mix of just about everyone. What other questions do you guys have? Okay. Do you guys want to wrap up? Maybe give you like the one last piece of advice to the group if they're thinking about applying? Any tips or tricks?
I mean, I think it's worth the effort. I mean, why not? If it's something we were going to do it no matter what. This gave us the opportunity to do it really well and make it more sustainable and impact more people. But I wouldn't let anything hold you back from this. It's like $5,000 is a lot of money, so you can't make something $5,000. I think it's just a really good opportunity.
And I wouldn't shy away from something just because you don't think that it's going to be wow in somebody else's community. I think it needs to be wow in your community. Although I do know one of the criteria is to be ethical. Just make sure it's wow for your community.
One of the things too for us, because it wasn't an event, we knew when we were awarded the grant, the city was not on board to be a funding partner in the future. They were on board because of the idea and getting the vibrancy in downtown. So then once we started and the community loved it so much, we went back to the city and said, look, we got the grant from the top to get this started. We need your money to keep it going or we're not going to be able to do it anymore. And you know how much it's impacted our businesses. So the city said, no problem. And now they've signed on for 3 years, $5,000 a year. And so we're part of their budget process.
Well, thank you guys.
And a huge thank you to Phil Hughes for being so generous with his money and facilitating the process.
For my own curiosity, by show of hands, who in this room has an idea and you're thinking that this grant is a good fit for you when you guys submit the application? Awesome. Well, my cards are on the table on your way out. If you think of a question that you didn't get the answer today, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. Other than that, we're adjourned. Thank you so much for being here.
Sounds like you bring up
short of my exam. How's that work? Here, I can say, it needs to work. Yeah, yeah.
Right, exactly, you don't want to
That's nice to see you.